What go down? Welcome to That's Just Mildo. We keep it a stack, nothing less, coming from yours truly. Y'all already know the rest. What go down? And I got somebody here today who finna tell her story. She came to chop it up with me, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Ivory. Most of y'all might know me as Ivory, but it's Ivory.
Okay, and she and she came to talk about some of the things she's been through. Thank you for coming and being willing to come, talk to us and have a little convo with your girl.
Yes.
So tell us a little about yourself, where you from and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, I'm 23.
Okay.
I grew up in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
No big H.
Big H, period.
I come from a lengthy family. I got people in Beaumont, Louisiana, Dallas, here, there, all kind of places. My daddy and family side bigger than my mom. They big. Well, no, they both big. Look, as I think about it.
Right.
But, I do have a daughter.
Okay.
She's 3. Her name's Autumn. Boy, that little girl there. She
cracked me up every time I see
horrible, baby. When I tell you 25 already.
In the 3-year-old body.
3-year-old body.
That's it.
That's an old woman. That's an old woman.
All right. So, let's talk about a time you were happiest in your life. Like, what was a moment you was like at your highest self?
Highest self?
Without the weed.
Well, since it's without the weed, I'm gonna date back to, I want to say my grandma was alive.
Okay.
Back in, before she passed away in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
She was my heart. That's what I'm named after.
Okay.
She's Ivory Corrine. I'm Ivory Currencia.
Okay, I like that.
So, thank you. She was always my rock, man. We both Libras, but she the 5th of October, and I'm the 21st.
Okay.
Right around that time, she stayed with us. She had got sick, and she had messed up her clothes. This is when she really touched my heart at this time. I'm just talk about that moment because she was telling me, she's like, I'm tired of being here. I'm upset, and I don't think I want to do this no more. And I looked at her, I'm like, Grandma, girl, you tripping. You're going to live 5 more years.
Right.
And I marked my words, like, from that day forward, she was like, I don't know what it is, but you made me feel better.
Right.
Like, she couldn't always talk clearly because she hadn't had, like, a couple strokes and stuff.
Yeah.
But after that moment, she lived 5 more years.
Right.
I marked my words.
You
she lived 5 years.
Into her.
And I guess, like, she really was feeling down, and that helped her.
Right.
And
so
that was a moment, and to actually get 5 years with her, I wasn't too upset when she passed.
Right.
I wasn't just, like you'll be down, and most people do the most, revert to other things for grief. But I got my 5 years.
Right. And so you was at peace with her. She was at peace.
Yeah, it was the best thing.
Okay. Okay. Talk about a time that you was at your lowest, emotionally, whatever the case may be. A low point in your life.
Low point. That was a recent moment.
Okay.
I was dealing with a relationship that was out of commission. He was toxic as I don't know what. But having due to the relationship I had got out of before him, I had jumped into it with him thinking, okay, maybe he'll be a little different.
Right.
He was a real serious narcissist. At first, he didn't come off as abusive or anything like that, but it did. Because one day he was so-called playing and flipped me off the couch with a blanket, and I sprained my wrist. And right at that moment, after a couple months, we started getting into it bad, and I started losing my mind. I started forgetting who I was. I wasn't going nowhere. I wasn't even trying to be a mother. I had got to a point where I was like, Mom, I think you should come get Autumn. Because, I'm just having them days, like I need some time to think. Before I knew it, I had basically tried to, commit suicide the next day. Right after I sent her with my mom. And it was like a moment where I woke up. I was like, when I wake up, like if I don't wake up, then it is what it is. Like I gotta face what's next and leave this shit for my family. But I was like, God, but if I do wake up, I'm gonna get help.
Right.
I woke up.
God said, "You
God
tried it.
said,
Come
you
on
tried
back.
it. Come back.
Come on in. Come on back in."
I'm in the house. I'm throwing up, just going down, like, you know, calling my cousin happened to call me.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Where you at? And I just broke down and told her what happened. Yeah. And from there, she got me to the hospital. If I hadn't came into the hospital that day, the next 72 hours, I'd have died. It'd have been that bad.
I got a question, because I always be curious about this. What truly draws you to a point of saying, I don't want to be here no more? Like, where do your mind have to go to be like, I want to be off of this earth, even especially with a kid and all that? Like, what takes you to that point?
Honestly, I can only speak what took me there.
Yeah, talk to me
there. Mm-hmm. I hadn't already was dealing with PTSD from the previous relationship I thought was better than what I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. I do suffer from depression, so a lot of times I get down and I think to myself, like, what I'm doing is never enough. Right. Or if I get into it with my mom, and you know how mamas can be, that baby, I don't give a damn.
Especially Miss Moose. I love Miss Moose.
That's my girl. Sometimes she make me, she'll think, okay, I'm telling you this because I want to better you. Right. But it don't always better me. Right. It knock me down. Right. And I don't always have the courage to speak up or to tell the next person how I feel, because I've always been kind of I ain't say I always been private. I speak up when it's too late. Right. And what really drove me to that point was everyone was in my head, like my baby daddy with the taking my child crap, and then my mom like, well, I can do this and that better, and then family, oh, you ain't doing this right. Right. And everything was just coming down at once. Right. At once. Oh, you need to do this better. You need to start to get a job. You need to learn how to be a mama. Or I ain't knocking you from being a mom, but you ain't doing this right. Right. It's like always something wrong and never nothing right. Right. So in my head, it was like, fuck it. Right. If I ain't getting nothing right, might as well say, I might as well not be here. Y'all got it on the line. Y'all got everything mapped out. Y'all don't need me. Right. And then when I got to that point, I couldn't have did it sober. I was drunk. I was drinking at the moment. Because the sober me, I'd have been like, girl, you tripping, smoked my J and went on by my sleep. Right. But when I do drink, it did enhance them emotions. Right. But at that moment, it was like, shit, y'all got everything mapped out. Y'all don't need me no more. I don't know what else to do. And that was your response? That was my response. And it was kind of selfish. Yeah. Now I can say it was selfish. But in that moment with all them emotions, and you're not sure if you can tell the next person because they're going to give you a speech. You don't want to hear a speech. You want somebody to hear you out sometimes. Right. Like, I don't always need somebody to be like, well, shit, do it this way. No, just listen. Right. Just listen. Right. Call me tomorrow or then give me the speech. Right. But today I need your ears. Today I just need you to hear me. Yeah. Right. Right. Is that the first time you ever got to a point that low where you tried to commit suicide? I'm not gonna say it was. I was younger from the other times. Right. Yeah, but they never. It was more like, I'm gonna just cut myself here. Right. Or just little lap cuts here, cuts there. Because I have been through, when I was younger, that's a tough time. But yeah, like, I've been through a lot when I was younger versus now. It was dealing with my daughter and being a mom and new emotions and new things, and actually accepting help and new people and stuff. I did not accept that now, and now I can. But back then, when I first started trying or attempted, it was like something else that triggered that, something deeper. So let's talk childhood, because in your adult years, you've been through some things. Oftentimes when we keep getting into these, let's say, toxic relationships, it's something from our past that cling us on to those toxic relationships. Do you feel like things from your childhood keep you clenching on to, toxic situations? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I ain't gonna just say he was an abuser, but my dad had abusive tendencies at times. And for some reason I seem to run into the men
that remind you of your daddy.
Yeah, that remind me of my daddy. Like, don't get me wrong, he was awesome. Like, he took us places, did stuff, we didn't ask for nothing.
Right.
He set the standards for like how I'm supposed to be treated, as far as how a man supposed to be himself. Like, you know, like how to explain it. With the money situation and being spoiled, that part, he set the standards high for that. But actually being treated right emotionally and my needs and stuff, I tend to run into men like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you run into people that remind you of your dad. Are you yearning for? You got a relationship with your daddy, though.
Yeah, I do.
You got a relationship. So, what do you think from your childhood caused you to cling on to them kind of men besides your daddy? Other than that,
besides that,
or is that like the main thing?
That I ain't gonna lie, that was the main thing, kind of, sort of, because other than that, dealing with men, it kind of, because I didn't really just have too much of the I had men structure, but they was all the wrong type of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Talking childhood, has there been moments in your childhood where you've been through traumatic experience? A lot of time when people are, especially in Black households, and I know I'll be talking about Black people, but that's the people that I'm around. That's my folks.
Right.
Oftentimes people don't understand where you're coming from because it's things that you've been through that they don't understand that you've been through. A lot of time, you know, there are women and men who are very hypersexual, and a lot of time hypersexuality comes from being molested or touched or whatever the case may be, or raped or whatever. And then people will see, oh, she fast, she this, that, and the third, but she don't know that she's been abused. Yeah. Have you ever been through experiences like such?
I have. I hate to say it, but quite a few times. The very first time I was at a family event. I had a cousin he was my favorite cousin. I would never think, you know, like, we close, bro. Y'all never think you try nothing. And I don't know what happened. I think we was drinking with one of my family members or something like that. And we weren't supposed to be drinking anyways, but my older cousins was handing it to me like, shit, I ain't tripping.
Usually how I go.
Like, I ain't gonna pass it up. And we was sitting in a car, and I remember I had on like a little skirt. You remember the little shorts?
The ones that's coming back in the style a little bit.
And I'm kind of messed up. I'm leaned over, you know, chilling. We all talking stuff, and his hand just goes straight up my skirt. I jumped up like, yo, you tripping? He like, shh.
Right.
I'll get out the car, like, yeah, I'm gonna go in the house. You know, I'm good. You know, I'm tripping.
Right.
That night, as I'm in the shower, he comes in the restroom. What you doing? Need me to wash your back? You need me to? I was like, oh God. I'm like, I'm good. By the grace of God, the next day my cycle started. And he whispered in my ear, he was like, you lucky I was gonna get you tonight.
What age was this?
I was 11.
Young.
I was 11. That's when the first time anything or anybody has ever tried anything.
Have you ever told anybody, family?
I did on a coming out video. I've never told no one exactly who it was or not put a name on it, but at first it was like I'm never gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna ever see them again.
Right.
But the older we got, he started reaching out and he started saying stuff. And when I did make my video, like, I had to.
Right.
Like, I mean, I have a daughter.
Right.
I don't know how to feel. I didn't know who to vent to. I didn't know who to tell.
Right.
But I did make sure I let it be known it was a family member who did it.
And what was your responses to the coming out video you made?
From family and things, if some people had my best interest.
Right.
The people I thought would have my best interest didn't have them. oh, you making stuff up. When did this happen? That's not true. Or I had a couple distant family members calling who this family member is. I need to go get them.
Right.
But I'm like, they got their own life now. I didn't do it to out nobody to make them feel bad or it's for you to go hurt them. It was more so of I had to heal from what I just did.
Right. So what's another healing mechanism you use?
Sad to say.
Y'all say it. What, weed? I know it.
I go smoke that weed.
But people all the time, and I love weed. I love weed just as much as the next person. But a lot of people say, oh, I smoke to numb the pain. But weed don't numb no god doggone pain.
Man, no, it don't. It don't even.
All it do is mask it temporarily, and then once you come down from that high, you're gonna feel that same pain again. So have you ever tried to get counseling or anything like that? Or
yeah, see, recently, like what I said when I tried the suicide, they did hospitalize me for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
They told me I suffer from PTSD and some more crap, so they put me on Prozac. And that's been an awesome mood stabilizer. Now I don't have to smoke as much.
Right.
Now I smoke when I want to.
Right.
It's versus
smoking because you feel like you have to.
Yeah, like I have to. Like I'm buying this, spending money, and I don't have to.
Right.
But ain't nothing wrong with taking medicine. Sometimes I prefer certain ones, like Prozac. I didn't try it. They tried it when I was younger. It didn't help. It just made me I don't like that. And as I tried it when I got a little older, I want to stay when I had my baby. They tried it. Then it was transferring to her, and she was having weird stuff going on with her, and I was like, no, I'm good. So when they did put me on the recent meds that I've been on, these are much better. I don't.
Right. So how does it feel to, once you finally do get the courage to come out and say, hey, this family member been touching me. He was touching me for a long time, and I may not have said nothing back then, but I'm saying something now. How does it feel to finally get the courage to do that, and then people tell you, oh, you lying, that didn't happen?
To build up the courage, because it take years. It take years.
And that's oftentimes why a lot of people don't say anything about it.
Because years later, it's like, it is what it is.
Right.
Like, I ain't going to say nothing, but by me having a daughter, and I'm going to just go ahead and speak my truth. I always didn't think the same thing would happen, but I've dealt with that in the past year.
Right.
Past about 2 years, we're going on 2 years now, that I've dealt with that same thing happening to my kid when she was 1. So when it comes to someone telling you like, oh, you're not telling the truth, or it's a lie, it hurts. It hurts like hell. So that's what made me speak up now. I made it to where my daughter now, she's open about everything. Even if she fell and you picked her up by her butt, she gonna come tell me.
Right. But that's kind of the way you want it too.
Yeah, I want it that way, because some people, for a long time, I was scared to say something because of the fact of how I grew up. We had the strict parents, and you really don't go nowhere, so they already know who it is, and they gonna go crazy, and instead of always going to get help the right way. We didn't have parents that did it the right way. They was gonna go do some other stuff.
Right.
So
Get some time.
Yeah, different times. So it's like, to hear those words that someone actually say, I don't believe you, it's not true, it hurt like hell. It hurt. It make you hate yourself sometimes for even saying anything.
Right. How do you feel like that experience, a terrible experience at that, an experience to me that steals so many people's childhood and make kids grow up faster and steal a child's innocence? How has that shaped you as an adult? We already have seen, chase after toxic relationships, and that could be due to that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But how has that shaped you as a woman, as an adult? Not the positive of it, but the negative.
The negative of it. Basically, it's made my sex life horrible. Well, I say horrible, but I'm addicted.
Mm.
Yeah, I am addicted.
Mm-hmm.
If I like, it's to the point where my addictions is so bad. I get mad and angry with people when I don't get it.
Mm.
Sometimes
people who wouldn't know what you just
wouldn't know
all of this.
Before
think,
this.
oh, she just hypersexual. She just
freaking
and all this.
Yeah, everybody like, oh, she just a freak. That's just her. She like that.
Right.
No, being assaulted and really changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you look at men different. Mm-hmm. I don't really care for men. Mm-hmm. Like, I try to get in relationships and deal with it because I watch my parents deal with, I believe in dealing with your relationship, fighting through the battles.
Right.
But when it comes to how I treat that man,
right.
I treat them men like shit. And it don't be intentionally. And I can say that now. I do. Right. Because I'm not in a relationship and I've been out of one for a couple months now. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to work on myself. Yeah. And understand what it is. Mm-hmm. And it all converts back to the assault, mm-hmm. the childhood trauma dealing with that. Right. And the abuse from this and that. And then another thing with the assault stuff, it also makes you look at yourself different. Right. Sometimes, I want to say a year ago, I couldn't walk outside in a sex mixy dress, put it like that. Right. I couldn't do it. Right. I'm in big t-shirts, sweatpants, don't care how I look. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to make me look in another kind of way anyways. If you're looking at me like, I didn't like to be sexualized, I didn't like to be looked at. Right. I didn't care for it. On top of dealing with, if I walk out, I'm craving, I look at this man, I might go just holler at him because I want to see what he got in his pants. Right. Or, it's just a lot dealing with it. So it play on your self-esteem as well. Yeah, it play on a whole lot on your self-esteem. Mm. People may not say it, but I'm going to say it. It plays on your self-esteem. Right. Sometimes I wouldn't even get up and do my hair. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even do my daughter's hair. Mm-hmm. I want to say within being home at the hospital, it's only been at the hospital for maybe 3 months. Mm-hmm. Dealing with it. And they helped me realize that's what I was dealing with. Right. Where it come from. Right. The assault, bad problems, abuse. Right. It come from a lot of it. Yeah. Hmm. So, in regards to your daughter, how was that for you? As far, did it trigger something in you, or were you just trying to make sure you were being supportive of her at that time? At that moment when everything happened, it was okay, I'm gonna take it in. Mm-hmm. It took me, but I ain't gonna say it took me 30 minutes to get together. I sit in her room. Yeah. And my boyfriend I was with at the time, I was talking to him like, this is what she just told me. He was like, I heard everything, Right. Just give her a second. What really made me come into my senses, she came in the room and she growth me how she was growth out of nowhere. Yeah. I instantly called my mom. Like, hey, what do I do? Right. This was New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. That's a terrible way to bring in the New Year's. Yes, terrible way. I'm sitting in the hospital. She said, get to the hospital. We get there, they do everything. I'm there. I'm not doubting nothing. I don't care. Let's get there. Right. I told baby, let's go. Right. All right, got her loaded up in a car. Didn't do nothing else. That's all. We went straight to the hospital. Yeah. And to hear them say, it looked like something happened. Yeah. Something happened. It was that. And her so young. Yeah. So young. Yeah. She wasn't in my care. She was in her grandmother's care on the dad's side. He had to go to work. So getting down to the story and stuff, and I ain't really care about none of that. I did flip the F out after we left the hospital.
Right.
I called everybody. I need y'all to get here. I don't care what y'all doing. Get here.
Right.
Everybody left what they was doing, and I was crying. I was mad. I think I had maybe like 5-6 drinks.
Yeah.
Because when I made sure I got home, I put my baby to sleep. I'm like, I'm gonna lay her down. She been through enough of whatever, because they do the full exam.
Right.
They doing everything.
Yeah, checking everything.
Yeah. My mom had to come in for that part. I ain't gonna lie, but once I told everybody, I was ready to go ride.
Yeah.
I was ready to go ride.
Yeah.
I don't care. I didn't call my uncles. I didn't call everybody, because it's like, who would do something like this? Her dad is just as confused. I'm cussing him out. You did it. It's your fault. But I want to turn up. I handled it like a mom should the whole day. I comforted her. I didn't let her see me cry as much as I wanted to cry. Like at that moment, like just talking about it, it's like, oh, what the fuck? Because to think that I would protect my baby for something like that, and this is what she had to go through. And till this day, she still have nightmares and certain little things that she go through. But best as I do deal with it, I just try to talk to her, comfort her, or put something on for her to deal out that moment.
Right.
Like, because for a long time, dealing with what I dealt with, I didn't know how to deal with it. So now that there's new resources and people you can reach out to, I'll try to reach out quick and be like, what do I do?
Right.
Yeah, but now dealing with it and her still having her nightmares and stuff like that, it takes a toll.
You know, when we was growing up, my mama and them was strict. You can vouch for my sister right here. Parents are strict. We couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
We didn't start going nowhere until we turned 18. And that's because we had to just say, hey, look, we grown. And barely 18, because we really still was getting talked to and told off and speeches and everything else. But oftentimes and now that I'm an adult, I can have a little bit more appreciation for it, because now that I'm an adult and you see a lot of the things that can go on, they was just protecting us from a lot of the dangers of the world.
Right.
And they didn't trust a lot of what was going on in the world. And sometimes we could barely stay at our cousin's house. Like that was barely, like barely. For real. Like they wasn't playing, because a lot of things go on. And yeah, you could think somebody your family, you could think somebody close to you. And behind closed doors, you don't know what them people doing. Even family, you don't know what they doing. You only know as far as you can throw them, and I can't throw none of them. So how has that affected your trust, not only just in people, but in men and in just in general?
Trust, man, that's one I still have to try to gain with people. Like, I have a best friend now. She's awesome.
Yeah.
But due to certain people knowing what I done been through, or supporting all that, it's hard trusting her sometimes.
Yeah.
But I love her to death, and she's the closest thing to me right now. And like, when it comes to relationships with men or trying to do better, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. Like, I can't do it, because I ain't gonna lie, my daddy was a good person.
Right.
But he had 5 women. Right. I got a sister the same age as me.
Right.
Learning from him too, that's another thing.
Right.
With relationships, and even with assault, like, I don't know if I'm gonna go out with this man. Is he gonna push up on me when I say no? Right. Is he gonna roofie me? Right. Is he gonna do anything? Or, okay, we got past the first date. Is he gonna beat on me? Is he gonna down me? Is he gonna be a drunk or anything? Right. And then I date women too. I just can't with them either. Right. I don't trust nobody. I try to have friends though. Right. Now, I'd rather have a friendship. Yeah. Better than anything, rather than dealing with somebody who, like, actual relationship. Right. Yeah. I think I cherish my friendships more than intercourse relationships.
And due to your past, you see why. It's definitely understood. Speaking of that, so this is a question, and I ain't trying to offend the LGBTQ plus LMNOP group. I'm not trying to offend y'all. But I watch a lot of like true crime, and then I watch a lot of Steve Wilkos and Maury and all that kind of stuff. Not so much Maury, more so Steve Wilkos, because Maury be playing too much. All that running off that stage be getting on my nerves. But oftentimes when I'm watching those and it come down to when they talking about child molestation, rape, any of those kind of things, a lot of times I see where people stop liking the opposite sex. And I'm not saying, they turn bisexual, or they go gay, or they turn lesbian. And sometimes a lot of times when I'm watching it, it's because they were touched by the opposite sex when they were younger. So it kind of made them have not a hate, but what is the word? What's the good? Not a hate, but like a strong dislike for the opposite sex because they were hurt by the opposite sex. Do you feel like that is something that you experience, or you just like girls?
At first, I think it was more so like, okay, it wasn't even dealing with being touched. At first, it was more so because my mama was a very strong, independent woman. No matter what my daddy went through, it always was like a woman right there. Even my grandma, when she was sick and stuff, and just watching the women in my family strive for what they want, I'm like, shit, I wonder what it feel like, to date a woman with a such title that handles everything. But really, what really pushed me that way was the assault, the sexual assault, because it was like, damn, this is what I'm supposed to be in love with, go on with in life and but it's taking advantage of me.
Right.
And by me being 11, it was that person, it was like, oh yeah, fuck it. My very first girlfriend, I think, was in like 6th grade. I still remember her, big booty, dark skin. Everybody wanted her, but she was my girlfriend. But around that time, I wasn't sexually active with no one or trying nothing. But as I got older and watching women in my family, my mama dealing with it, even with her divorce, how strong she stood on it with my daddy. When like, I'm gonna stand stern. This is what we're doing. I need to figure out what makes me happy.
Right.
And that's what made me come out. Because it's like, my mama saying what make her happy. She's standing strong on her life. Mama, I like girls. It is what it is. I like men too, but I had to tell her, you was what made me strongly like women. Like you did it, but you didn't do it. But like, yeah, a lot of it came from my mama, and the rest of it came from the assault. It just pushed me over edge.
Right. Yo, text. I peep it right here.
This one.
What that's back?
It was my very.
It's a small one, but it speaks volumes from what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just like when my family member told me to shh. I couldn't I couldn't say nothing. And for a long time. And when I was like, I finally got my very first tattoo, I'm gonna make it mean something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my first trauma into my very first tattoo. Yeah. And I went ahead and did. Everybody's like, it's not the first time that people say something. They're like, what do you mean? Silenced. I was silenced at a young age. Most people don't understand what it means to be silenced.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're silenced, you're obviously told not to say nothing, whether it's a threat, whether it's just because it's a family member and you know that this family member holds so much power over whatever you're going to say because they got ties to this and that. Or, just things like that. And that's mainly how I go. They got people who bribe you to be quiet.
Yeah.
People who make threats. People who got power. It's just, I was silenced.
How do families still treat that, or how do they treat the family member who did it? Or have you not been around them?
I have not been around them. And I refused to go on that side of that family.
Yeah.
Everybody, they had a reunion recently. You coming, cousin? I was at home like this. cousin, where you at? Do not disturb. Like,
yeah,
I already know who's gonna be there.
right.
And half of them, after it happened, they tried so hard to figure out who it was. He ended up getting in contact with me after I made the video.
I was just gonna ask you, has he ever reached out afterwards?
Yes, he did. He reached out and was like, I want to say I'm sorry for everything and blah, 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 blah. I was like, thank you.
Question is, are you sorry because you caught, or are you sorry because you didn't mean to do it? It's a
then that's what I was just going to say. I had to tell him, I said, you're only sorry because I said something.
All right.
If I wouldn't have said nothing and went on by my life and still been having to deal with this, then you just wouldn't have said nothing. You're not sorry. You weren't sorry when you did it. You're not sorry now that you say, now it's out.
Right.
But I told him, I was like, I'll never tell him your name.
Right.
Because you got a family now.
Yeah.
But you're going to get your karma.
Mm-hmm.
And I left it at that. And I ain't talked to him ever since.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I don't know. Yeah, I'll be strong, child. Going through that, it really do shape a lot of who you are. Anything you go through, I tell people this all the time, and I watch interviews all the time. Anything you go through in your childhood is going to affect your adult life because it shapes you. We just became adults. We've been kids our whole life. You know what I'm saying? So them 18 years, it really shaped the rest of your life. And 18 don't necessarily mean you're grown. It just mean you're 18 legally.
Yeah.
And still can't drink, but it shaped you, and that's why I kind of want to bring people on here, to talk about that, because we so busy worried about some of the silliest things, the most ignorant things, and it's things like this, especially in our community, because I done heard and seen it too many times where the family say, hey, don't say nothing because that's my cousin, I don't want you to say nothing, I don't want him to get in trouble, I don't want him to go to jail because of what he did to you, you know what I'm saying? Or it's too late, you might as well deal with it. Go
on with your life. Let that man be.
And it's easy for people to tell you to deal with something when they ain't been through it. And so I really hate that stuff like that be going on. And I really, just want to shed some light on it. So,
It'd be hard for people to intake that because dealing with a family member who has came out about another family member once before and dealing with what she went through, it kind of encouraged me because watching her over the years of what the person she became, she been through a lot more. I can say more than I've been through over the past 23 years of us being family. And to see her go through drugs and all kind of other stuff and different things just to cope. It was like, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
I gotta say something because either I'm gonna not say nothing and plummet or say something and get somewhere.
Right.
And me personally, my whole life I've kind of been open.
Yeah.
But about what I'm supposed to be open about, I've been closed mouth too.
Right.
And that's kind of my fault too, but being scared to say something.
But being told to be quiet at a young age.
At a young age,
don't not want to say nothing at the right times.
Yeah. And what's crazy? My mama always told me, you can tell me anything. I wanted to tell her one day, but here come my daddy. Oh, what you have to say now? Never mind. It be certain people will shut you up. Before I even say anything. And it's like another thing. When I was in high school, I'm gonna share this one. I was talking to somebody, went to a party. They ended up gang. The girl I was talking to left me there. I was talking to a girl at the time. I wasn't even there for no dudes. I was with her. They left me there, did whatever they wanted with me. I was left walking naked at 5 a.m. Just running down my leg, blood, all kind of shit. I'm just fucked up. They beat me up and threw me out, basically, after they did what they had to do. And I had ended up catching something, but it was something you can get rid of. It wasn't on my free will.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. When people do catch stuff, it's not You don't have to be out here just having sex and having fun.
Right.
You catch it just on motherfuckers taking advantage of you.
Right.
And my dad found out about it. And he blurted, instead of...
Sorry, y'all. We got a special guest audience. Marvell over there just woke up from his little beauty nap, I guess.
He went right back down.
As long as he mind his business.
My daddy, oh my bad, y'all. My daddy, he was like, "Oh, you out here fucking and sucking and doing all this for these niggas." And I broke down. Now that kind of messed up our relationship for a long time. When you want to tell him what happened, but what's the point? You already got your perspective on what happened, and that ties into the be quiet.
Right.
You jumping in perspective. You jumping into this. What? How the hell you say that damn word? Perspective. You already got your perspective on everything that happened and what it is, when I didn't even get to tell you what happened. Because I was at school when I had passed out and they had to rush me to the hospital because I was in so much pain. And that's when I found out what everything was. Everybody was pointing the finger at the boy I was talking to. He didn't have nothing to do with it. Like, I said boy, I'm sorry. The girl I was talking to, she had something to do with it, but she didn't have nothing to do with it because it wasn't her who did it. I kept her out the loop. Because you really didn't have nothing, but I feel like you set it up. You went to the store and never came back and got me. You claim you was drunk and messed up and you forgot. Like, no ma'am. But that's one of my biggest ones I carry on my shoulders. Because I remember how my dad reacted. And that's another reason to clinch on. Sometimes we be wanting to feel love and protection and so anytime you get any glimpse of love and protection from somebody, you just take it, even if it's bare minimum, below bare minimum, because that's what you yearn for. You even experienced that with your daddy, the one who's supposed to be protecting you, automatically thinking you the reason that it happened. And so that also will change your perspective and how you look at things and how you handle things in life, even how you deal with men. That plays a role. So that's interesting. I really hate that happened to you, though. And I'm sorry that happened to you. And God don't miss nobody. So trust and believe. And we be thinking our lick backs be hurting, but God's hurt way worse. So
I'm glad that you got the closure that you.
And I'm glad you were able to sit here and talk about it, because a lot of people cannot. I couldn't. I'm not gonna lie. If I wouldn't have, honestly, if it wouldn't have took the recent hospital, me being hospitalized and actually having to be in a mental hospital, I wouldn't have been able to talk about it today. Because before then, I used to couldn't talk about it. I was still in the moment where I wake up in the morning and say, shit, I don't even want to take a bath today. And it was because I was dealing with silent depression. And don't nobody understand that depression is real. That's one thing that comes out of all of this. Depression, some people get PTSD, which I got from the trauma. And insomnia. I don't sleep at night at all. I can't. I close my eyes. I'm up like this, like, okay, they get me. Till the day, I still have it. But I learned that, my daughter need me. God got me. And I make sure my support team, like my best friend, she'll hear me up in there listening to my slow jams. You and your feelings? You good? You need a blunt? I gotta go get a smack. What is it? Girl, I'm just jamming today. You sure? Like, my support team, since I've been home, is amazing. I wouldn't be able to do it without them. And I want to cry because like these people here, like, I'm go ahead. My mama, my sisters, only two of them. I don't know about the other motherfuckers. I don't give a damn. Only two, Mika, Fanny, my mama, my best friend, Quisha. And my cousin Shemaine, she off and on with it, but she was the one who got me to the hospital. She the one who sat there and cried with me, made sure I was okay. Like, you don't catch too many people who actually give a fuck. And the fact that I got a friend on my side who going through the wits and works with me, she's an amazing person.
She got 4 kids of her own. Right now we roommates. Mm-hmm. We got each other. I don't give a damn. Like, you're not going nowhere.
Right.
She can't go nowhere. She can't leave me.
You in this for life.
You in this for life. She told me when I went to hospital, she was having a breakdown. So I didn't know what to do without you. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I'm never leaving you again. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't do it no more. Like, now that I got someone to talk to and actually help out, or whenever they can, it feels so much better. It feels so much better. It really does.
Well, you got a support team to help you get through all that, because
some people don't have it.
Some people don't, and that's not the first time I done heard it. Where you going through, you always got people around you when you good.
Yeah,
everything is high in life. But when the people that count is the ones that's with you when you're low.
Yeah.
When you back up against the wall and you feel like you can't call nobody. And then the people come through that you ain't even think about. That's the ones you want in your circle. I don't want people around me when I'm good all the time, because I'm not always good,
right?
So it's good to have people that's around you when you low. And I'm glad that you have people around you who are helping you heal and go through this process, because oftentimes people will turn their back on you because they don't understand your journey. They don't understand that some days you're going to be high, some days you're going to be low.
Right.
They don't understand that.
They don't.
And it's just because you and your thoughts about things that you've been through. But I'm glad you came and talked to me, girl, because, girl, you put some stuff in perspective. And I'm glad you are able to talk about it, and I'm glad you have got through it. And I'm glad that the attempt didn't go through as well.
I'm glad it didn't either.
Because, baby, listen, you got a baby, and you don't want to leave her, and especially because she's experienced what you was experiencing. You don't want her to think that's the answer to it, too.
Right.
Get help, and teach her to get help, you know?
Now we do counseling.
I know that's right.
They come. If I can't go to them, they coming to me.
Right.
Or they on FaceTime. You good? Right. I'm good. That's another thing. Don't be scared to get counseling, man.
Right.
People be like, I ain't talking to them people. Well, if you can't talk to your mama, your daddy, your best friend, your sister, your uncle, who you gonna talk to? That's strange. Them strangers in that hospital understood me a little better than I thought my family did.
Right.
At that moment, I needed that comfort. Right. They understood me better than what everybody else could have.
Right.
And they made me understand the people around me and how they gonna feel dealing with someone who just got diagnosed with actually having a mental illness.
Right.
So I had to relearn how to deal with them, like they still relearning how to deal with me.
And it's a process.
It's a process. It's a freaking process.
But if everybody willing to do it, go through
it. Yeah.
Get it done. Well, girl, you did that. You said you spoke your truth, child. But thank you for coming, and thank you for being so vulnerable and being able to talk about, some traumatic experience you dealt with, because people don't understand until they understand.
Right. They don't. That's why one thing I try to stay open-minded to everybody.
Right.
And I listen.
Right.
God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
Listen more than you talk.
Right.
I'm easy talking to a stranger, but then I talk to people I know for 20 years, to be quite honest.
Right.
I just learned to speak up, and that's my motto. Speak up and don't hold back. Own your truth.
Right.
Because if that's who you are, that's who you are.
Right. And sometimes you can be helping somebody else by speaking your truth.
Exactly. Like, I was a little hesitant today. I was like, I don't think I should. My little sister said, Ivory, you can help somebody. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what?
Right.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because the last video I made of my when I first came out about everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, "You helped me today." I went and got help. They send me police reports. I'm young at the time. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I just did.
Right.
And like when I came home from the hospital, I was making my motivational videos. Like I've been a little slacking lately because I got in the zone and I can't help that.
Right.
And people was texting me, telling me how their day went and what they had going on. I was giving a word of encouragement, what they was going through, what I had just went through, or what I might go through later. I try to be an ear because people need ears.
More than they need mouth sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Well, that's going to sum it up for us. And again, thank you for coming, and thank you for telling your truth and speaking your truth. And I hope things continue to get better for you. And we gonna pray for you and little mama. That's my dog. She cracks me up every time I see her.
Y'all can have her.
Wait, we can have her. I was finna give you him. Well, that's gonna sum up. That's just my story though, featuring Ivory today, and she came to talk to us, and she became vulnerable with us. So thank you again, and that's gonna sum that up. Y'all catch us every week on That's Just Mel though, or That's Just My Story though. Thank you.
Thank you.